Metal Gear Solid is an action-adventure stealth game developed by Konami Computer Entertainment Japan, and first published by Konami for the PlayStation 1 in 1998. The game was directed, produced, and co-written by the series creator Hideo Kojima, and serves as a sequel to the MSX2 video games Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, which Kojima also wrote and directed. The story follows Solid Snake, a soldier who infiltrates a nuclear weapons facility to neutralize the terrorist threat from Foxhound, a renegade special forces unit. Snake must liberate two hostages, the head of DARPA and the president of major arms manufacturer, confront the terrorists, and stop them from launching a nuclear strike. Now, cinematic cutscenes were rendered in the game engines and graphics, and voice acting was used throughout the entire game. The game overall was well received, shipping more than 6 million copies. It is regarded as one of the greatest and most important games of all time, and is often seen as the game which helped popularize the stealth genre. Now, I was a gamer before Metal Gear Solid came along, although the games I played prior felt very much like games. This was the first time I played a game that made me feel like I was in an actual movie. I remember so very well getting a demo disc back in the day. Yeah, who remembers these? And sitting down and being blown away at the cinematic style and voice acting. I was pretty much hooked from there. I have a special love for this game and what it's done for the history of gaming, so I'm not going to try to be biased. The story in this game is great. If you go in confused and come out confused, it's okay, because I did my first time. You do feel like you're missing some backstory, but not enough to ever feel like you actually needed to know it. Hideo Kojima is a great storyteller and sometimes leaves you to asking questions or interpretation. Most do get answered though, although it's the characters you meet is what really shines here. Each character here has a story and you end up knowing it at one point or another. I found this really drove the plot and for me to keep playing. And some of the lore of these characters are quite interesting and somewhat sad sometimes. The gameplay in Metal Gear Solid is a product of the late 90s. While not too many shooters at that time ever perfected the formula, it wasn't until Metal Gear Solid 4 that the controls felt great. Playing it nowadays, I still cannot get used to hitting square to fire. There is also no first-person view with your weapon, so hitting enemies could sometimes be rather difficult. Other than the shooting mechanics, everything else controls rather well. Maybe playing so many shooters nowadays have spoiled me with the triggers on the controller being the firing button, but maybe that's just my opinion. The most memorable parts of Metal Gear Solid and the series as a whole, and I think fans will agree with me, is the boss battles. The boss battles are not just battles, but in the process of battling them, you'll learn more about each of them, where they come from, and so on. They all have their different abilities. This could be anything from reading minds to becoming invisible. They each have different techniques to beat them as well. I would say one of my favorite bosses is Psycho Mantis. Just the fact that, and he will break the fourth wall, so if you had any Konami games on your memory card at the time, you would read them. The music in this game is amazing. It's very industrial sounding, very reminiscent of a James Bond / Mission Impossible. The way music changes from when you're sneaking to being caught, or in action, was very different for its time, being the only stealth action game to ever do this. The music has stuck around for years now, and some of my favorite tracks come from this game. Metal Gear Solid offers one of the first cinematic experiences on a video game console, and it shows. Yeah, the graphics may not hold up to today's standards, but at the time, it was groundbreaking. It was a different approach to the way video games could be made. If you haven't played any Metal Gear games, then I would say start here. I would play them in order of release since each installment makes the controls better. So if you go from Phantom Pain to this, you may not like the controller transition so much. Overall, I enjoyed this game, well, rather love it. Also, there was a remake of this game on the GameCube using the MGS2 engine called The Twin Snakes. Although the graphics and cutscenes were upgraded, the music was completely changed and downgraded in my opinion. If you're planning to play this, do yourself a favor and play the PS1 version. It's a must-have for any collector or PS1 library. Then if you like, you can always pick up the GameCube version later. You can usually pick this game up from anywhere between 10 to 20 bucks. Anything below that would be a steal. So I'm going to put this on my scale as buy it. Thanks for watching everyone, be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to see more reviews each week. I'll be covering old and new games, and if you guys have any requests for games you would like to see, leave a comment below and I will add them to the list. Stay tuned next week while I'll be diving into a personal favorite, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 for the PS2.